Certainly hearing the different perspectives, particularly on SD-WAN, it kind of reinforces also that the direction that we're heading is something that others are adopting, so it kind of reinforces the fact that we're headed in the right direction. Hearing more about zero trust access as well has been good to hear that perspective. And then meeting the other vendors of some services, there were several international carriers here, and we're a regional company, but to have discussions about how things might change now globally to where there might not be a need for a regional US-based company to necessarily have a relationship with someone in APAC, but I think that that's going to change over time. Distance learning, shared experiences, so it's good to have those conversations now.
So I think the big thing that I sort of got from this conference is that inevitably SD-WAN and networking technology right now is much more in a journey phase than it is sort of a means to an end. There's also been in the last 5 years, I think part of this has to do with COVID, but I think part of this also has to do with cloud and the changing shift for how applications are hosted and consumed, is that security and networking are now sort of completely interconnected. Whereas that was sort of two traditionally separate spaces. If anything, you could have said they were competing and combative at times. I think what I've seen now is that there's this embracing that these two sort of spaces need to come together and work collectively together. So another big theme I've seen here is more about establishing a clear vision from the technology space and the business space. Because if you don't have that kind of alignment that basically clearly connects the technology outcomes with the business outcomes, inevitably, what you find is that there's a lot of waste and it's not a very smooth transformation journey.
I think the real opportunity at the WAN Summit for everybody, for me as an analyst and for the folks who are attending as enterprises and for the vendors as well, is to have these conversations, thankfully now in person, where you can get new ideas, hear from your colleagues in other verticals or in the same vertical, but from different companies that can give you inspiration about, I could approach this problem this way or offer advice. And so I think the real benefit of having this event to be able to do this is to not just become aware of what new solutions and technologies there might be, but to be able to take that space to pull back and think, like, what do I need to think about? What maybe did I not even realize that I needed to think about? Or what have I done that can maybe sort of encourage someone else in a way that they hadn't thought about? So I really think being able to bring everybody together in this way where you're getting out of your zone of just solving problems on a day-to-day basis and be able to pull back and start to strategize, start to think about how you might do things a little bit differently and what the ramifications might be.